How did pirates have best sleep on medieval ships during the coldest night winters? Hello guys, today we will know about a quiet and cold part of the past. A slow and gentle story meant for the night. A telling meant to calm the breath and ease the mind toward rest. Tonight, we travel back to the late medieval centuries. To the northern seas of Europe. To a small harbor town along the cold Atlantic coast, where wooden ships rock gently at their moorings, and where sailors, traders, and pirates live side by side. This narration is meant to help you relax, to let your thoughts drift like water beneath moonlight. There is no hurry here, no sharp sound, only the soft rhythm of history. And a quiet question waiting patiently in the dark. The town sleeps beneath a pale winter sky. Narrow streets wind between stone and timber houses. Cobbled paths shine with frost. And fog settles low, close to the ground. Oil lamps burn faintly at corners, their light trembling in the cold air. The harbor lies just beyond the last row of houses. Masts rise like dark trees against the night. Ropes creak softly. Water laps against wooden hulls. The smell of salt and tar hangs heavy. Familiar. Unchanging. Houses near the docks are small and crowded. Built of timber frames and rough stone. Roofs sag under winter weight. Inside, one room serves many needs. A hearth burns low, fed with peat or coal when it can be spared. Families gather close to the fire, sleeping on straw mattresses, sharing warmth, sharing breath. Children curl beside parents, listening to the wind push against the walls. Meals are simple in these homes. Dark bread baked from coarse grain. Thin porridge warmed over the fire. Sometimes dried fish. Sometimes a scrap of meat. Nothing wasted. Everything shared. Clothing is heavy and worn. Wool cloaks patched again and again. Tunics faded by salt and labor. Leather shoes stiff with cold. Gloves rare. Hands often bare. Reddened by winter air. By day, the town moves slowly. Men haul nets. Repair hulls. Patch sails torn by storms. Women clean fish. Mend clothing. Sell small goods near the docks. Carts roll carefully over cobbles. Pulled by tired horses. Carrying barrels of salt fish. Sacks of grain. Coils of rope. Trade is modest, but constant. Children run errands. Fetch water. Carry messages. Help coil rope or scrape decks. Some attend small charity schools run by the church. Learning letters by candlelight. Most learn by watching hands at work. The harbor is loud by day. But by night, it grows quiet. Only the wind speaks. And the sea answers. Among the ships, some belong to merchants. Some to fishermen. And some to men who sail beyond law and charter. Men called pirates. Though they call themselves simply sailors. These men come from the same streets. The same houses. The same hunger. They know cold as well as any farmer. They know fatigue. And the need for rest. A medieval ship is narrow. Its deck open to sky and weather. Below, the hold is dark and low. Smelling of damp wood. Tar. An old cargo. Sleep aboard such a ship is not easy. Especially in winter. When the wind cuts sharp. And waves strike the hull without mercy. Yet sailors learn. Slowly. Patiently. They sleep where they can. Between barrels. Beside coils of rope. Wrapped in cloaks. Layer upon layer. Using spare sailcloth as cover. The secret to rest is not comfort. But routine. And closeness. Men sleep near one another. Sharing warmth. Blocking drafts. Bodies pressed close against the cold. Below deck. The air is thick. Heavy with breath. But it is warmer than the open deck. Here, men wedge themselves into corners. Bracing against the ship's movement. Their bedding is simple. Straw mats. Old sacks. Sometimes nothing at all. A rolled cloak beneath the head. Arms crossed tight to keep heat in. Clothing is never removed fully. Boots loosened. Belts kept on. In case the ship must be manned quickly. In case danger comes without warning. Before sleep. They eat what they have. Hard bread. Salted meat. Dried peas. Washed down with weak ale. Food is fuel. Not pleasure. A small lantern may burn briefly. Shielded from wind. Its light dim. Faces drawn with fatigue. Conversation low. Short. Then silence. Above deck. The sea moves endlessly. The ship rises and falls. A motion that never stops. At first unsettling. Later. Soothing. Sailors learn to sleep with motion. To let the body follow the ship. Not resist it. Like a cradle. Rough. But steady. Winter nights are long. Cold seeps through wood. Frost forms on ropes. Breath clouds the air even below deck. Yet exhaustion brings sleep. As it always has. The watch changes quietly. Boots scrape softly. A cloak brushed aside. Men move with care. So others may continue resting. Dreams come in fragments. Of warm hearths. Of bread fresh from the oven. Of narrow streets back home. The mind clings to familiar comforts. Storms are the hardest nights. Wind howls. Rain lashes the deck. Water seeps through seams. Sleep becomes shallow. Yet even then, the body finds moments of rest. Between waves. Between gusts. Eyes close. Breath slows. For a little while. That is enough. When ships return to harbor. Men step ashore stiff and pale. Their sleep incomplete. Yet they know the rhythm. They have learned how to rest. Even in hardship. Back in the town. The same men walk the same streets. Past the same lamps. Into the same small houses. Where warmth waits. And silence. At night. The harbor town and the ships breathe together. Wind through rigging. Smoke from chimneys. The sea never sleeps. But men do. When they can. In the coldest winters. Survival depends on small wisdoms. Layering cloth. Sharing space. Eating before sleep. Trusting routine. And letting fatigue carry the body down. There is no luxury here. Only endurance. And endurance becomes habit. Habit becomes comfort. Even on a frozen deck beneath stars. The past moves slowly. Like a ship through dark water. Guided not by haste. But by patience. And quiet strength. As the night deepens. The ship rocks gently. The town lies still. Frost settles. Lamps dim. Breathing slows. Thoughts loosen. The cold feels distant now. Wrapped in layers of time. And silence. There is nothing more to do. Nothing more to prepare. Only to rest. As sailors once did. As the sea continues its endless motion. And so the night holds us. Softly. Steadily. Until sleep arrives. The night continues. Slowly. Without hurry. We remain near the cold harbor. Where the medieval town rests beside dark water. And wooden ships rise and fall. Patiently. As they have done for many winters. Fog thickens along the narrow streets. Curling around doorways. Softening the edges of stone and timber. The lamps still burn. Small and steady. Guarding corners of the town. Inside the houses. Sleep deepens. Hearth fires sink to embers. The warmth lingers close to the floor. Families breathe together. Wrapped in wool and silence. The streets are empty now. Only the sound of wind remains. Moving through shutters. Through hanging signs. Through gaps in walls. A sound known since childhood. Near the docks. The ships answer the wind. Ropes creak. Masts groan softly. Water taps against hulls. A rhythm slow and endless. Below deck on one such ship. Men lie packed close. Their bodies forming a wall against the cold. Cloaks pulled tight. Caps pulled low. No space is wasted. They have learned where warmth hides. Near the center of the ship. Away from the hull. Near stored cargo. Barrels and sacks holding back the wind. Sleep comes in layers. Light at first. Then deeper. Broken by movement. Then returning again. Like waves themselves. The cold never leaves entirely. It presses in. Through planks. Through seams. Yet the body adapts. Muscles loosen. Breath steadies. Some men murmur in their sleep. Words of home. Of towns like this one. Of narrow streets and low fires. Others sleep without sound. Their faces calm. Resigned. Above them. The deck is wet with frost. Stars glimmer faintly. The moon hangs pale and distant. A lookout stands wrapped in layers. Stamping feet quietly. Waiting for dawn. The watch knows the value of rest. He moves carefully. Avoiding sharp noise. So those below may sleep longer. Sleep is a shared resource. Guarded gently. Hours pass without marking. Time is felt through cold and fatigue. Not counted. Not measured. Only endured. Until the sky begins to change. In the town. The same slow passage of night continues. A baker stirs early, lighting a fire. Careful not to waste fuel. Bread must be ready by morning. A cart stands waiting in the lane, its wheels rimmed with iron. A horse shifts in the cold, breath steaming. Patient, used to these hours. Children turn in their sleep, dreaming of warmth, of daylight, of simple tasks waiting. They will rise soon, to fetch water, to help prepare the day. The ship's crew senses the coming morning, not by light, but by change in the air. The cold sharpens, then softens. A sign the sun is near. Men wake slowly, limbs stiff, joints aching. They do not rush. They sit, breathe, pull cloaks tighter. A small meal is shared. Hard bread, a swallow of ale. Enough to stir the body. Enough to face another watch. Another task. Winter does not forgive weakness. So routines are kept carefully. Sleep when allowed. Eat when possible. Work steadily. Without waste. Back on land. The town begins again. Footsteps return to the streets. Doors open. Smoke rises. Life resumes its quiet pattern. The sailors know this rhythm well. Sea and shore mirror each other. Both cold. Both demanding. Both offering rest only in brief moments. When night comes again, they will sleep again. As they always do. Wherever space allows. Trusting habit. Trusting exhaustion. The past does not hurry them. It moves at the pace of wind and tide. Slow. Relentless. Familiar. As this second night unfolds, thoughts grow fewer. Breath grows deeper. The image of the ship rocking gently returns. And once more, rest settles in. Quietly. Like snow upon a deck. How did pirates have best sleep on medieval ships during the coldest night winters? The night continues. And the harbor town lies still beneath a heavy sky. Fog drifts over the cobbles. Soft and slow. Carrying the faint smell of salt and tar. In the houses closest to the docks, families remain huddled near small fires. The embers glow weakly. Yet they give warmth to tired limbs. Children breathe softly beside parents. Their small hands tucked under woolen blankets. Outside, the streets are silent. Footsteps echo faintly when someone passes. But mostly, there is only the wind. Pushing against shutters. Whistling softly along narrow alleys. The ships sway gently in the harbor. The tide moves steadily. Ropes stretch and groan. Wood moans softly. As if the vessel itself is breathing. A quiet sound that lulls men below deck into sleep. Below deck, the sailors are arranged like blocks of warmth. Straw mats line the hold. Barrels and cargo serve as walls. Cloaks and blankets piled carefully. Every inch of space is claimed. For warmth. For rest. The cold presses in through cracks in the hull. Through seams in the planks. But men have learned to shield themselves. By pressing close together. By pulling layers tight. By keeping boots and belts on. so they can wake quickly if needed. Sleep is uneven. Shallow at first. Eyes flickering open at the creak of a rope. At the slap of a wave against the hull. But eventually, the rhythm of the ship rocks them deeper. Into a steady, rough calm. The watch moves quietly above. No step too loud. No rope dragged carelessly. The men above understand that rest is fragile, and that fatigue must be protected. Hours pass like water. Time felt only in cold and weariness. The mind drifts. Dreams of warm fires. Of streets lined with small houses. Of simple bread. Of quiet laughter and family. The coldest nights are hardest. Wind biting through every layer. Frost forming on rope and wood. Breath misting the air. Sleep is shallow. Interrupted. Yet even then, the body finds short moments of relief. When morning begins to edge into the sky, it is not light at first. Only a subtle change in the air. The cold softens slightly. The tide shifts. The wind lessens. Men stir. Slowly. Stretching stiff limbs. Drawing cloaks tighter one last time. A small meal is eaten. Bread and dried meat. Ale if it is available. Fuel for the body before the day begins. The harbor town begins to awaken as well. Horses shift in carts. Carts creak over frozen cobbles. Merchants begin arranging goods. The smell of smoke and baking bread rises. Life resumes its steady rhythm. Children step softly outside. To fetch water. To deliver messages. To run small errands. Learning the pattern of days. And the patience of winter. The sailors of the ships do not linger. They know their routine. The cold will return. The sea will demand attention. They must be ready. Rest must be taken when it can be taken. As the day passes slowly, work resumes on the deck. Repairing sails. Checking ropes. Tending fires below deck. The rhythm of life is simple. Necessary. Enduring. Evening comes again. The sun low behind distant hills. Shadows stretch along the frozen streets. Smoke rises from chimneys. And the tide carries the scent of salt. The sailors prepare once more for the night. Lying in familiar places. Piled among cargo. Wrapped in layers. Body pressed close to body. Finding warmth in numbers. The wind begins to bite again. Stars glimmer faintly through the clouds. And the hold of the ship becomes a small, quiet sanctuary. A place to rest. A place to survive. A place to wait. The cold remains. But it is softened by routine. By habit. By the body's adjustment. By the gentle motion of the ship. Above deck, the lookout moves silently. Ensuring nothing disturbs the sleeping men below. No sound too loud. No movement unnecessary. Every effort made to guard the fragile rest of the crew. Hours pass like gentle waves. Sleep deepens. Shallow at first. Then deeper. As the body remembers how to rest even in the harshest conditions. And so the night carries on. The town is quiet. The harbor is quiet. The ships rock slowly. The sailors breathe evenly, wrapped in layers, protected by habit, and by the passing of time. The past moves softly, as it always has, not demanding, not hurrying, only steady and enduring. In these long, cold nights, the secret of rest is simple: closeness, warmth, routine, and patience. The world beyond the harbor fades. The wind, the frost, the dark water, all become gentle companions. And sleep comes. Slowly. Gently. Endlessly. How did pirates have best sleep on medieval ships during the coldest night winters? The night grows deeper, and the harbor town is wrapped in frost. Even the sound of distant waves feels muffled. Soft. Steady. Endless. Ships rock slowly in the quiet water, their masts shadowed against a pale sky. Ropes sway lightly, and the scent of tar and salt clings to every surface. A familiar smell, comforting in its constancy. Below deck, the sailors rest again. Bodies pressed close. Cloaks layered thick. Boots kept on. Hands tucked beneath them. The rhythm of the ship carrying them towards sleep. The cold is never gone entirely. It slips through the smallest cracks. Through seams in wood. Through damp straw. Yet the men endure. They have learned. Layering warmth. Protecting one another. Trusting the routine of the night. Occasionally, a groan of wood or a shift of cargo stirs a man. Eyes open briefly. A breath. Then closed again. Sleep returns. Steady. Persistent. Like the tide itself. Above deck, the lookout moves quietly. Every step measured. Every rope handled with care. So that the rest below is not disturbed. Rest is fragile. And must be protected carefully. The night stretches long. Hours pass unmarked. Time measured only by the pull of the tide. The sigh of wind through rigging. The slow, patient rocking of the vessel. The sailor's dreams are simple. Warm fires. Bread breaking in small hands. Cobblestones under boots. The streets of home. Quiet voices. A fleeting comfort remembered in sleep. The coldest nights are hardest. Wind biting at any exposed skin. Frost forming on every surface. Sleep shallow. Yet even then, the body finds brief relief. Moments of warmth stolen between breaths. Morning creeps toward the horizon. Light barely visible. The cold softens slightly. The tide shifts again. And the rhythm of waking begins. Men stir slowly. Limbs stiff. Bodies aching. They draw cloaks tighter one last time. A small meal is shared. Bread. Dried meat. A sip of weak ale. Fuel for what comes next. The town begins to wake as well. Carts move over frozen cobbles. Horses stamp softly. Merchants call quietly. Smoke rises from chimneys. The day begins again. Children step into the streets. To fetch water. Deliver messages. Learn the rhythm of their small world. Their breath clouding in the cold. Feet careful on icy stones. The sailors prepare for another day. Climbing onto deck. Repairing sails. Checking ropes. Tending fires below. Every action deliberate. Every motion practiced. Evening comes once more. Shadows stretch long. Smoke drifts into the cold air. And the sailors return below deck. To rest. To protect warmth. To sleep where they can. The cold returns. The wind presses in. Yet the ship provides its small sanctuary. Habit. Routine. Closeness. Warmth. Above, the lookout moves quietly. Below, the men settle once more. Sleep shallow at first. Then deeper. Until even the sound of waves fades into nothing. The harbor, the town, the sea. All lie still. Wrapped in frost. Wrapped in shadow. The past, patient. Enduring. Night after night. The sailors learn the secret of rest. Not in luxury. Not in softness. But in careful routine. In shared warmth. In enduring patience. The world outside slows. Breath deepens. Limbs relax. Thoughts drift. And sleep comes. Softly. Steadily. Endlessly. The ships rock slowly. The harbor remains quiet. The wind whispers over cobblestones. And the cold is softened. By habit. By endurance. By the rhythm of life itself. The night stretches. Time flows gently. The past and present blend. And sleep holds all. Until the coming dawn. Slowly. Gently. And without end.